inspired if it's a little louder, but it's also kind of pleasant to hear something that's reasonably musical, not too loud, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool. There's a way to get a fat sound and stay at a volume that doesn't oppress people, but you don't get to do it very much. Everybody plays too loud is what I think. In fact, I was fired from a band I played in with Robin Barrett called Rhythm Street for playing too loud. But I used to have a stereo rig with 2 amplifiers, and I was pretty loud. But I was always having trouble keeping up with Rob. Anyhow, Rob's a great guy. In fact, I think we owe Rob a big thanks for this this thing with this going to be a lot of fun if everybody can just go around and take it all in. I'm going to do all I can to see everybody that plays here. You know, as I sit here, I almost feel like I'm a sham because I'm talking about myself and I haven't really done a whole lot. But I would like to try and maybe tell you what kept me going all the time. It seems like Les Paul said that one of the most constructive ways to practice was to watch TV. He said, with your guitar. So I used to do that, and I did that before I heard Les Paul say that. But basically, if you, I'm probably a little lost here because I'm trying to think of which. Gosh darn, I hate that. Well, 70 years old, that's what happens. Anyhow, in terms of being able to console myself, I would go get my guitar. And to console myself against what? Or over what? Well, when you're growing up, you don't know anything. So you make mistakes, so occasionally you have to console yourself. And then sometimes you don't understand things, so you have to console yourself. So the guitar became a thing I would just get. And if I would go to a house where there was a guitar, I wasn't very sociable because I was fearful of most everybody. So what I would do is get the guitar and just go sit down somewhere and play the guitar. But then people would come over and want to know what I was doing. And that's what's always happened to me. So, as I moved along through influences, I'll try to straighten my story out here to get me from Walla Walla to Hollywood here in a few minutes. So by 1960, 61, at the age of 13, 14, right in there, I had met up with some guys, local guys here, because I walked by the high school gym, and they had the music department was in the gym building, or I guess it was in the main building. Anyhow, Old Wahai, which is now the YMCA. And these guys were 3 people that played a fair amount of music around here, and there may be 1 or 2 people here that knows who they were. The Craig brothers, Bill Craig and Pat Craig. And the other one would be Paul Trousdale. Paul's not with us anymore, but Paul was kind of an upstart, the brilliant kind of young musician in a crowd of people that I knew around here. He was, of course, he was a trained saxophonist and he read music. And he was actually really good, especially back then. The other thing I made a note of about music is music is still in the primitive stages. It's highly advanced ideas. And when people get through screwing around with all of the electronic doodads and the production values, you still have to go back to a guitar, a horn, a violin, a stand-up bass, some kind of a drum beating instrument, vocal cords. So music has to win out for its sheer sound and goodness. It can't really be pumped up by artificial means. So anyhow, at that time, I hooked up with these guys and we kind of played. And there was a guy from Two Sheet that came around. His name was Brian Conrad. Brian was a drummer. I think he's a retired software engineer now somewhere in Southern California. But he was a brilliant drummer to us and to me at that time. And so we played, but I can't tell you that we played anything more than with each other somewhere, and we might have played one or two gigs. But kind of what happened was there was a group here called the Gems. Now the Gems are going to mean something to some people. And the Gems basically were an instrumental rock band. So they had 2 electric guitars and an electric Fender bass guitar and drums. And the Gems, when I first went to see them, I just couldn't believe what I heard. I mean, they were so good. It was just incredible. Well, I'm not clear on the story of how it evolved, but I wound up joining the Gems. But I never made a gig with the Gems. We rehearsed in the Leaders' basement, which is their rehearsal area, over by Pioneer Park. We rehearsed for about a week, maybe 2 or 3 nights. And then I was told that it was all over, the gig was off. And so I didn't really know why, you know. I thought I was okay. But some other guys came along at a donut shop on 9th and Chester. And so we formed a garage band, and we called it the Frets. And so we did kind of what the Gems did. The Gems did a lot of adventure songs, like Walk Don't Run. So Frets learned all of these adventure songs, and we started playing. We played team dances. We played around here. There was a local guy that booked us, and then he started booking us out of town. But the problem was that the Ventures had a distinct sound. The lead guitar was not the type of guitar that I have. It was a Fender guitar, and I had a Guild guitar, and my guitar looked more like this guitar, and the Fender guitar, well, you know what they look like. I'm sure you've seen a Stratocaster. Anyhow, so what happened was I got to trade with some guy because somebody found a guy that wanted a guitar like I had, and he had a Fender Jazzmaster. So I went over to the guy's house, and my friend who drove, because I was a couple of years away from driving, took me there, and I made the swap with the guy and got home, and I took the guitar in the house and hid it in my room, because the guitar I traded had been purchased by my folks, and you know, they paid for it. So they expected me to have it. It's like Leave It to Beaver, if you know what I mean. That's kind of where I was at back around 13. I was like Beaver, you know, only about twice his age. Can't hear me? Okay.
Speaking to the mic.
Okay. The mic's going to bump my guitar and put a ding in it. Anyhow, so the Jazzmaster story's almost over. Anyhow, I was playing the guitar in my room, and I took it to a couple of practice sessions, and but I kept it hidden because I traded it. Well, my father popped in the room one afternoon when he got home from work, and he said, "Where'd you get that guitar?" I said, "I traded it." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay." So he closed the door, and about 2 minutes later, here comes my mom and opens the door and hauls me out to the living room and gives me a talking to. "How dare you trade off something that we bought for you? You know how long your father worked for that?" So forth and so on. So anyhow, my mom loaded me up in the car and took me to, made me sure where the guy's house was, and made me undo the deal, and the guy was cringing when she knocked on the door, and he traded right back. And so I didn't talk to Mom for quite some time, and I wouldn't eat my food, you know, and I was really, really upset. But I got over it. I think my dad helped me. But what happened was, here about 5 years ago, I got a brand new Fender Jazzmaster at the local music store, and I put it in the closet, and I take it out and smell it every once in a while.